Ya, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Anesthesia semester 7 and saya Juliatika Safitri and my partner Aza Azaria. We will explain a little bit about anesthesia management of the pregnant trauma patient journal by Daria M. Movini and Albert Jeffer. Here's the mechanism of injury. First is blunt trauma. This common problem of injury among pregnant trauma is associated with 1. Preterm labor, 2. Maternal fetal hemorrhage, and the last is direct fetal injury. Fetal death will happen if emergency cesarean delivery is not performed when placental abruption happens. And the second is penetrating trauma. Penetrating trauma includes a wound because of gunshot or stab. Penetrating trauma abdominal wound causes fetal injury around 60 until 70%. For the direct trauma, uteroplacental disruption or maternal shock have bigger percentage around 75%. And the last is burns. Aggressive blood resuscitation, respiratory support, and wound care are indicated for pregnant women with burns. Here's the complication of the specific complication for pregnant patient because of pregnant trauma. First is placental abruption. Second is uterine rupture. Third is preterm rupture of membrane. Fourth is preterm labor, and the last is direct fetal injury. Here's the obstetrics issue. This is placental abruption. Sign and symptom may unseen, but some of the symptoms are abdominal pain, vaginal bleeding, and uterine contractions. When the patient's bleeding, we have to do maternal resuscitation with blood products, include like red blood cells, fresh frozen plasma, and etc. This problem and the second is uterine rupture. This problem is rare and comprises around 0.06% of maternal injuries. Symptoms may include abdominal pain, and we can find patients in shock, distended abdomen, and fetal parts in physical examination. And next is fetal outcome. Ejection from a vehicle, hip tension, pelvic fracture are the risk factor for fetal death after maternal. And for the obstetric risk factors are uterine tenderness, uterine rupture, and etc. Next is primary survey. The primary survey in pregnant trauma includes airway, breathing, and circulation. The mother has to in stable position because early and aggressive maternal resuscitation improves both maternal and fetal outcome. In imaging, radiology imaging should not be withheld, delayed, or deferred due to concern regarding fetal radiation exposure. Diagnosis and management of maternal injuries benefits the mother directly and subsequently the fetus. And the next slide will be presented by my partner for Aza Azaria.
Okay, anesthetic, perioperative, and intraoperative management. History, focus trauma history, medical history, surgical history, and obstetric history should be obtained for the pregnant trauma patient. Physical examination, maternal heart rate, and blood pressure are significant vital signs used to diagnose hemodynamic instability. Although heart rate increase slightly and both systolic and diastolic blood pressure decrease slightly during pregnancy, this minor physiologic change should not be used to explain tachycardia and hypotension in a pregnant trauma patient. Anesthesia technique, regional and neuraxial technique are preferred to general anesthesia for mothers who are stable. Minimal medication is transferred to the fetus. Premedication, all pregnant women are at risk for aspiration because elevated progesterone levels, decrease lower esophageal sphincter tone, thus leading to gastroesophageal reflux. The gravid uterus also displays the stomach superiorly. Next. Okay, positioning, elevating the patient upper back, shoulders, and head such that the external auditory meatus is at the level of the sternum improve the ease of laryngoscopy. Left uterine displacement with placement of a wedge to elevate the right hip 30 relief autocaval compression and maintenance preload. Induction of anesthesia, pregnant patients are at high risk for aspiration due to decreased lower esophageal sphincter tone and superior pressure on the stomach by the gravid uterus. Rapid sequence induction is indicated for pregnant women requiring intubation. Airway management, pregnant patients are at high risk for aspiration due to decreased lower esophageal sphincter tone and superior pressure on the stomach by the gravid uterus. Rapid sequence induction is indicated for pregnant women requiring intubation. And resuscitation and transfusion. The resuscitation, crystalloid and blood product may be administered to restore intravascular volume and maintain adequate uteroplacental blood flow. Cross-matched blood is the best option for transfusion of red blood cell. However, if uncross-matched blood must be given, type O Rh negative blood is most appropriate for pregnant women to avoid Rh sensitization. The right hip should be wedged 30 to prevent autocaval compression and to maintain preload and cardiac output. If necessary, ephedrine and alpha-adrenergic agonists are both acceptable vasopressor for pregnant women. Transfusion ration, many studies in the trauma literature report improved outcome with packaged red blood cell, fresh frozen plasma, ration of 2 and 1 or 1 and 1, optional ration for improving outcome and preventing coagulopathy during massive transfusion in pregnant and postpartum women, not now. Disseminate intravascular coagulation. Pregnant women are more likely to develop disseminated intravascular coagulation because of the description of the balanced hemostatic process. Activation of the clotting cascade causes widespread thrombosis, resulting in platelet depletion and coagulation factor. Excessive fibrinolysis, bleeding, thrombosis, and or multi-organ failure. Placenta obstruction is a risk factor for DIC, massive transfusion for traumatic injury and or obstetric hemorrhage can also cause GIC. Cryoprecipitate or high fibrinogen concentration and platelets are important blood products for the treatment of GIC in pregnant and postpartum women. Antifibrinolytic limited data are available regarding the efficacy and thromboembolic risk of tranexamic acid administration to pregnant women undergoing massive transfusion. Laboratory evaluation, artery blood gas, platelet level, prothrombin, partial thromboplastin, and fibrinogen level guide the management of blood product. Thromboelastography or TEG and rotational thromboelastometry or ROTIM can provide a faster assessment of coagulation status. ROTIM decrease clotting time and clot formatting time, increase maximum clot tightness, and discrete fibrinolysis. An additional consideration is that as pregnancy progress, hypercoagulability increase, so normal value will vary at different gestational ages. In the setting of postpartum hemorrhagic, TAG and ROTEM, results have shown that as decrease in maximum amplitude and clot amplitude, respectively, compared to women who do not experience postpartum hemorrhagic. Correlates with hypofibrinogenemia. This indication there's need for transfusion of cryoprecipitate concentrate of fibrinogen. The use of this point of care coagulation test specifically for pregnant trauma patient has not been reported. HD isoimmunization in an HD negative mother. IgM immune globin does not cross the placenta, so the fetus is currently unaffected. However, if she has a subsequent pregnancy and the fetus is Rh positive, the mother's IgG antibodies will cross the placenta and destroy the fetal erythrocyte, causing fetal anemia and high output heart failure. He drops vital and advanced cardiac life support. The American Heart Association last update is guideline for advanced cardiac life support for pregnant women in 2050 in general. Maternal resuscitation lead to the best maternal, fetal, and neonatal outcome, an important decision in recommend, namely position, manual left uterine displacement is essential for effective maternal resuscitation after 20 weeks of gestation of the gravid uterus compressed the inferior vena cava when the mother is supine, therapy decreasing preload and cardiac output. Emergency cesarean delivery during cardiac arrest, maternal survival has been reported up to 37 minutes after cardiac arrest, and neonatal survival has been reported up to 47 minutes after cardiac arrest. However, the recommended time is 4 minutes for the greatest possible favorable mother and baby outcome. Fetal heart rate monitoring after trauma. Post-traumatic monitoring of fetal heart rate and uterine activity may be performed for approximately 2 until 6 hours or longer if there are concerns about fetal heart tracking, frequency, uterine activity, or maternal status. Multidisciplinary management. Multidisciplinary management is essential for effective perioperative management of the pregnant trauma patient and her fetus. The checklist in table 2.4 22.4 delineates the guest role of the multidisciplinary teams. And next, this is a checklist for anesthesia management of the pregnant trauma patient. And next, and last, this is a checklist for initial multidisciplinary management of the pregnant trauma patient. Okay, this is our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you for Azazaria, and that's our presentation for today. Thank you for attention. Just please correct me if we are wrong. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.